Welcome to Carpool Confessions. Today, rather than rant or confess something, I don't know, unseemly, I'm going to answer a question. This question comes all the way from South Africa, and it's a really deep one, so we're going to get serious. And you can tell we're getting serious because I have to put on my car glasses. These are the reading glasses I keep in the car for all those times when I'm waiting for my kid to get out or something, and I have to read a book or do some work. So let me read the question and then I'll get to my response. Hi, Kamira. I just watched your carpool perfection rant and I just love them. You asked the other day about topics we would like to discuss. This may be too raw to discuss and you must tell me so, but look, as I work most of the time from home, I was in my kitchen yesterday, lunchtime, making a sandwich as one does, and I had Sky News on from the UK. I found myself glued to the screen as Donald Trump listened to some of the parents and students from the school in Florida and others like Sandy Hook. I live in one of the most crime-ridden countries in the world, and there are illegal weapons, but there are also stringent gun laws. Touch wood, and please God, we don't have school shootings like in America. I had tears streaming down my face as these parents and children spoke. How do you, as an American mother, send your child to school each day? I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong and you're doing what every parent does the world over, but do you find yourself giving thanks when you see your son walking towards you when school ends? I feel so painfully sorry for the children and parents in America, and no, I don't think arming teachers is the answer. Would love your thoughts. Okay, so dear friend in South Africa, first, yes, I am eternally grateful every time I see one of my children, whether it's an older son getting off of a plane and walking into the house because they all live far away, or every single day when my son, the youngest son, comes home from school, when he literally comes to this car after I finish typing a video for you friends, and I'm happy to see him. But that being said, I think that is, like you said, something that parents all over the world do. We send our kids to school, we pray for the best, we thank God when they return. I'm a mother of kids of color, so being fearful about their physical return to me is not new. I pray whenever I part from my guys. Silently, I pray for them. And with the youngest, we say the mitzvah together whenever we part. Because heaven forbid that be the last time I see him. But I'm really praying that it won't be the last time I see him. And I pray upon and for my guys every single day. But I'm a person of faith, and that works for me. Other people have what works for them. Personally, these school shootings, they're horrible. And I don't know if it's possible to express the condolences I have for the families who are affected by this on all sides. We cry with them and for them just as you did. And because I'm a person of faith, I pray for them and for the rest of us so that nothing like this ever happens again. All violence saddens and angers me. But it doesn't shock me. I don't have a heightened sense of fear for my sons because of these school shootings, especially the most recent one, which you're referring to, because since the day I became a mother of sons of color, have always feared for their safety. I fear for their safety when it comes to racism, whether it's racism perpetrated by police officers, random civilians, whether it's them being targeted because they are children who are blessed with resources and there are others who aren't. I do fear for them, but I don't let that, I try not to let that overshadow the way I parent them. But I am cautious in my parenting of them. You asked about the school shooting in particular in Florida. Since you asked that question, here in Atlanta where I live, we had a school on lockdown recently because of the threat of a school shooting, and we had another actual shooting. And then the same time period, there was a shooting on a college campus where another relative of mine attends, a young cousin. So this is not theoretical for me. This is real life. Drills and lockdowns and metal detectors and stuff have really become de rigueur in schools, public and private. Metal detectors are especially seen now in more and more public schools, but specifically public schools in lower socioeconomic communities. And the students in those schools who walk through those metal detectors, who see them every day, they can attest that having metal detectors and things like that does not lead to an environment that is conducive for learning and creativity. So I think that we really need to think harder and come up with some better solutions, remembering these environments. Schools are special environments. They're not airports, they're not federal offices. And how we handle safety in schools may need to be different. It's equally as important, but it may need to be different because of what's going on there. You mentioned arming teachers. I have to agree with you. There are a lot of reasons I disagree with arming teachers. And I'm going to go back to being the mother of sons of color, because I cannot talk about children and separate myself from that. It's who and what I am. Students of color are stereotyped as dangerous in schools. There have been many studies about this. There's been research, there's been anecdotal evidence. This is not something that I'm making up or presupposing. It's true. There's a racist perception that happens. Now, if you start arming people who already knowingly have a bias against them, then you put these students of color at risk. We've already seen that police in schools use excessive force on students of color. Imagine if more adults in those schools who have this biases are also armed. And when I make statements like that, you must know that when these police officers use excessive force with students of color in schools, these same police officers are not using equal uses of force with white students who do exact same transgressions, okay? So we're talking apple to apple. I'm not doing apple to bananas here. It's been proven, and there are lots of studies that you're welcome to look up. I am the mother of a son who teaches in a public school. It's an under-resourced public school, and I don't think he needs to be a safety officer. He does not need to have a gun. It is hard enough for him to teach other people's children math. And now you want him to be a security officer. You're already having him be a social worker. You're already having him be a mentor. You're already having him be a disciplinarian and substitute parent. Now you want him to be a safety officer too. I think that's asking too much, especially considering the fact that we don't want to pay him for his efforts. Also, he is a black male, and him being armed anywhere is not a good idea in this world for obvious reasons that we have already discussed. So I'm not going to get into that. I think that when you start arming teachers and having metal detectors and stuff, what's going to happen is people will self-select out of the public school system, those who already have it. So then we're going to have a broader chasm or divide, have you, between the haves and the have-nots, because people are going to be like, I don't want to send my kid to that school because it's not a fit learning environment. Which means the public schools are going to be worse off rather than better off. And that is something that I hope we don't have to prove. But we'll see what happens. I just think that we need to change the way that we handle childhood anger and violence. I think we need fewer guns, not more guns. And instead of paying for guns in schools, we can put money toward educational initiative, after school programs, arts in the schools, teacher salaries. And it's really easy to hyper focus on guns, because guns are a huge issue in the USA. You were right when you said that. There's no denying that. We have more guns than people. But we also have other problems, and we need to address those other problems also, because I believe if we address those other problems, we'll have fewer reasons to use guns. Now, I've written a post recently about the fact that I really do think we need to get guns off the street. Some other countries have done it. They've done it well. We are a large country, so we'd have to tweak things and make it culturally appropriate for us. But it's not impossible. It would be a Herculean effort, but we are capable of it. We are capable of it. Just as we are capable of handling our issues with misogyny, racism, poverty, inequity, and injustice. We can handle those, and we can handle guns. The guns are a physical issue. We can get guns off the streets that are already there. We can stop new guns from getting onto the streets. And then the guns that we take off of the streets, we can do something with them. These are radical notions. There are people who will tune me out immediately. There are people who talk about their Second Amendment rights, et cetera, et cetera. And they're very learned people, constitutional law experts who battle back and forth on that issue. Now, we can get into a deeper conversation about that, but I'm not sure that this is the place for it. I hope I addressed your question. It was a very thoughtful one, and you see that I kept my glasses on and I've been reading from my tablet because I wanted to make sure that I hit some salient points that you asked me to. You're right, it is a serious issue, and we don't shy from serious issues, whether it's a written response or a video response like this. So thank you so much, my friend in South Africa, for sending that question. I hope we get more questions from people. You can email me at tryhardmommymail@gmail.com. That's tryhardmommymail, MAIL, at gmail.com. You can always just post your question in any of the comments on my social media pages, and I will address them. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you looking at my videos and sending in questions and passing it along and sharing this information with other people, because you guys make this a community. Otherwise, I'm just this crazy mom who is spending time in her car while she's waiting for her son to come home from school and thanking God each time he comes home. Make it a good day. Bye.